Hey guys, I'm here with my good friend Chance.
Hey.
We're at the new Samson and Chance Table Tennis Academy, and we're doing something that we haven't done before. We're running YouTube live stream and Facebook live stream at the same time. So if you see me looking back and forth from screen to screen, we're gonna be talking for a few minutes, and then we're gonna be taking some questions. So the first thing we're gonna talk about is just the new academy and what we offer.
For sure.
Part of the thing for the donors, what I promised all the donors was, as we're building the sport here, we're also going to give you some ideas so that at your club, back wherever you live, whether it be Idaho or Kansas or California or Texas, that you too can maybe take home some things and you can learn from it too. Mm-hmm. So there was 5 things that I was going to outline, and I thought I could comment on those, and then maybe you can give some suggestions as well.
Sure. Yeah.
So we offer private lessons and group lessons both. And the reason that we offer both is because in private lessons, you can work on more personal one-on-one details. And then in group sessions, you can actually work on applying it against different people. See, some people think that it's just about, private lessons with a coach because Chance is a high-level coach or he's a high-level player. But the thing is, it's great to learn the details, but you're not going to be playing against just him in the tournament. You're playing against other people. So what you have to be able to do is learn it, and then you have to be able to apply it as well. So in your opinion, what do you think would be a good balance on a day-to-day basis or a week-to-week basis as far as private lessons versus group lessons?
I think you should probably try to get at least 1 or 2 group lessons in so that you get that experience with, hitting with other people, and, maybe 1 or 2 private lessons as well. That way you can really focus on your own thing, your own game, and then try to apply it in the group lessons when you're practicing with other people.
Yeah, good. So right now we've got group classes going different evenings of the week. We also have drop-in open club play here with 20 tables. So, the people can take private lessons, group lessons, and we've got plenty of tables that they can meet up here and practice their skills.
Yeah, so that's super important too, not just group classes and group lessons and private lessons, but, contact your friends and try to get into the club and practice with them and practice what you've been learning in the classes.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, I got a couple more things that I wanted to mention here, and then we'll be taking questions from the audience. So the other thing that we're doing here is pricing. It's not easy to spend money every week on private lessons and leagues and tournaments and equipment and this and that, so we're putting together a package deal. So maybe your club's gonna be different than our club, but we really wanna be able to reward those dedicated students that are coming on a daily basis and wanna sign up for summer camps and tournaments and everything. So if you can make the pricing effective, yeah, maybe you're not gonna make as much money for your club, but ultimately what you're gonna do is you're gonna get dedicated students that are serious about making improvement, and those are gonna be your advertisement, because as those kids are improving during the next 12 months or 24 months, you're gonna see a lot more benefit to your academy. The other thing is the atmosphere. I've said this many times before, you're probably tired of me saying it, but it's not just 4 walls and a bunch of tables in between, but we're trying to create the atmosphere here that people wanna come. And then variety. We're trying to add programs for a variety of people. So if you saw the window graphics as you drove by, or maybe as you came here, you'll see that we offer things for kids and seniors. We offer things for Olympic level players, but also complete beginners. So I think variety is good. And then the last comment that I want to make as far as a club is make your programs adjustable. As needed, as this program's got no signups and this one's got 45 signups, hey, maybe you need to make adjustments, and that's what we're gonna be doing as well. So as I give you suggestions in future months and years, I want you to give me suggestions as well. A lot of the great ideas that people credit me for aren't actually my ideas, they're ideas that people have passed along to me.
For sure.
So did you have any other comments about the academy here, or about what other people around the US can do? Because you have a lot of experience as far as being a world traveler and playing in Europe the last 7 years.
Like I said, I think one of the most important things is to not just focus on the lessons, but to really, reach out to your community of fellow table tennis players and try to set up, practices and participate in open club play, and really get out there and spend some time on the table working on the things that you're learning in your group lessons and in your private lessons.
Yeah, because application is really the big key.
For sure.
It's really tough if every time the coach is going to go there and give you a lesson, you haven't worked on it at all during the week. It seems like you almost need the same lesson over 52 times.
Yeah, there's so many different styles and different materials that people play with. You really need that experience to play with a lot of different people.
So I'm interested in seeing questions from you. Do you have any questions about the Samson and Chance Table Tennis Academy or about your club? What would be some questions that you have as far as how are you going to build the sport, or how are you going to help structure your club or give your club officers some advice on how to help you with your game? While you're typing up your questions here, I just want to mention that we've got 4 great weeks of summer camp coming. We've got a couple camps in June. We have one camp at the end of July and then one camp in August. So Chance and I, as well as a team of expert coaches and practice partners, are going to be here, and we're going to be assisting you with different skills. So we're going to be working on a lot of different skills every single week, but the first week is more focused toward footwork. The next week is focused more towards strokes. The third week is focused more towards serve and serve return, and then the fourth week is focused more on match tactics. So we'll be working on a lot of different skills, but during each session, we're going to be linking it back to the main topic of the week.
Yeah.
And Chance has helped me out for the last couple summers, and he's been doing a great job. All right, we have a question from our good friend Sid Condwell. He says, when you're ready for questions, I think that's now. All right, this is a long one. How is Wang Hao able to prevail without using the only advantage reverse pen hold offers? Quicker transition time between backhand and forehand. Wang Hao is known for actually
switching from forehand to backhand like a traditional shakehand player. In China, Liu Guiliang said that Wang Hao is known to be the best pen hold player as far as backhand and being able to play spin, but he's better at short than most of the European players. So it's kind of like a mix between the two styles. He has the short game like most traditional Chinese players, but his spin and backhand are a little bit stronger. So that's what they credited for him being so successful, is because he kind of mixed the two things and did both things slightly better than either style. Good answer. Does that answer your question, Sid? We have time for about 1 or 2 more other questions before we go on to our next topic. And our next topic is actually going to be 10 things that you can do during the next year to improve your game. So the first part of this session was more on the new academy and also your table tennis club that you're at. And then the next part is going to be a little bit more personalized for your game. So if you've got any other questions, we'll give you about 21 more seconds here. All right. Sid Condwell says yeah. All right, and I heard a rumor that Sid Condwell is going to be here at 4 o'clock today taking on challengers. So if you think you can hit through him, make sure you guys show up at 4 o'clock. Not as easy as you might think, folks.
All right. Well, thanks for that question, Sid. As far as the next thing with personal improvements, so there's actually hundreds of things that you can do to improve your game, and this is not like set in stone, like you have to do just these 10 things, but here's 10 things that maybe you should be thinking about as you're gonna make progress during the next 12 months. Typically, coaches talk about short-term improvement. Short-term improvement, it could be anywhere from a day, to 6 months. That's considered to be more short-term. Long-term improvement is usually 1 to 2 years, and a mid-term improvement is 1 to 2 years, and long-term improvement is usually over the course of your career. Maybe it's 2 years or 5 years or 10 years. So there's basically 10 things. The first thing that I think is really important is time management. Most people's cell phones, they'll tell them how much screen time that they have per year or per day. So if your screen time on your phone is 3 hours or 4 hours or 5 hours, hey, maybe you don't have good time management. So time management is critical. I mean, I hear it from a lot of kids all the time. Hey, I don't have enough time. I have homework and this and that. You got 24 hours in the day.
Yep.
So out of 24 hours, how much time are you really at school? Maybe 8 hours.
Yep.
How much time are you really sleeping? Should be 8 or 9, but most teenagers are sleeping like, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay? So what are you doing with the rest of the time?
Yeah.
What I want you to consider is your time management. If you're watching 4 hours of TV a day, or you're on your phone texting for 4 hours a day, and you don't say you have time for fitness or practice, first thing you need to do is time management.
Yes.
For me personally, I have certain times that I have my phone with me, and certain times that I just lock my phone up in my office, and I just say, hey, there's other priorities right now. My phone is not my life. So I want you to evaluate your time during the next 12 months. As far as immediate improvement, one of the biggest things you can do is think about your ball placement. Ball placement doesn't involve changing a lot of strokes as far as drastically or making huge differences, but slightly out a little bit wider or slightly different as far as a little bit shorter or a little bit more inside. Some slight differences in placement, that can make a big difference short term. As far as your serve goes, serve practice is something that a lot of people just whip through. They'll grab a bucket of balls and then just serve, serve, serve. And they say, man, I served 500 balls, something should happen. But there's really no thought or no quality or no goal. It's just their coach told them to do serve practice, so they're just whipping through serves.
Yeah, I think it's really important to have a goal for your serve practice. You're working on this serve or that serve and this placement or that placement, and really trying to, maybe today you're working on keeping it lower or producing more spin. Set a goal for that particular serve practice and then go after it.
Another thing that I think that people miss on serve practice is that they serve and they just stand in a serving position watching their serve from here, as opposed to serving and then getting back and getting ready. The goal is not just to make a good serve, the goal is to win the point. And how are you gonna win the point if you serve and follow up and then follow up and then follow up? So it's not just about improving the height or depth or speed or spin or placement on the serve, it's also, can you picture the next ball coming and do you know what to do after that?
Yeah, serve and then get into your ready position.
Yeah, it's not easy. I mean, most people, they're a little bit lazy, they just want to go out there and serve, but if you're actually serious about improving, serving and then thinking about the next ball is critically important.
Super important.
Yeah. As far as serve return, nearly everybody that walks through the door right there, they tell me serve return is my main problem, that's what I want to work on, but yet not that many people actually practice their serves. So now that we have plenty of tables available, I would love to see people coming here with a bucket of balls, meeting up with a friend, and then working for 20, 30, 40 minutes on just serve and return, serve and return.
Yeah, if you have a group class starting at 6:30, come at 6. Get a half an hour of serve and serve return. Come with a friend. You practice your serve for 15 minutes, they practice their return, and vice versa.
Yeah, and a lot of people have the misperception on serve return that serve return is just merely as far as getting it back over. What I tell people all the time is that's not really going to help you. Just simply returning the serve is not really going to help you. Ultimately, you're trying to win the point. So are you giving a quality flip or a quality push or an actual loop? Just simply chiseling the ball back over and somehow making it land on the table? Yeah. That's just not good enough. A good player it's not going to be effective against them. So think about not just practicing your serve return, but giving real strokes and quality returns.
For sure.
A few other things as far as improvement during the next 12 months. One thing is to develop a routine. With the routine, I'm talking about a pre-point or post-point routine. So a lot of things that you need to think about as soon as the point is over is what just happened in that previous point? What are my overall tactics for the match? Am I able to calm myself down and let go of that smash that I just missed? And am I able to refocus for the very next point? This routine is personal. It's something you can develop on your own. But if you can develop a really, really, really good routine, then you can snap out of it and play your best, even when you feel like you're kind of in a slump.
Yeah, definitely important to take time, whether you're winning or losing. You don't want to, be sprinting to serve the next ball. You need to think about what just happened. How do you win the point, or why do you lose the point? Take your time. Some people bounce the ball, some people wipe their hand on the table. Develop what works for you.
Yeah, and it's not just taking your time. You'll see a lot of people just taking their time, but it's using that time to also think at the same time as far as what's really happening here, what's going on, or as opposed to just, well, I'm going to take 10 seconds and hopefully something's going to happen. So the developing a pre-point routine, people feel like it's important for tournaments, but it's also really important while you're playing match play here. If you come for a match, instead of just mindlessly going through the motions of 2 hours of playing, try to do your best at implementing this in match play, and it should carry over to tournaments.
For sure. You want to make your club matches as realistic to the tournament as you can.
Yeah, absolutely. A couple more things. One of the biggest deceptions that's going across the US right now is that you have to play with higher players in order to improve. The problem for a lot of players is they're trying to develop new things, and they keep telling themselves, I'm not going to play better unless I play higher players. So they go to the club and they play somebody 200, 300, 400 points higher. They're just hanging on for the ride, and then they can't develop their skills. Yeah. So one thing that's critically important, when you're developing your skills, whether it be a new serve or the ability to flip this short serve or the ability to block earlier timing or whatever it may be, one of the most critical things is playing lower players and implementing new things, not just hanging on for the ride. So it's really a big deception to tell yourself, well, I can't get anything out of this because the guy is 200 points lower than me. I don't care if he's 300 or even 400 or 500 points lower than you. There's always something that you can develop in your game, especially if you're in the developing stages. It's important not to overlook those other club players, but to get those quality matches in. And I think when you were developing your game, you probably played a lot of lower players.
I played a lot of players that were 200 or 300 points lower than me at the club, and it helped a lot because instead of focusing on trying to, beat them as badly as possible, I would focus on, whatever stroke that I was working on at that time, the backhand flip or the backhand loop, and really try to incorporate that into my game, not worrying about, oh, did I just lose a set to this guy that's 200 points lower? No, it's like, well, I need to play this better so that I can start using that against the players that are my level or higher.
Good, excellent. And playing higher players, like that's the deception that I told you. The deception is, well, I have to play higher players in order to improve. So you go there and you get in that higher division, you're playing the first division at the league, or you enter that under 2600 division at the next tournament and you play higher players. Does simply playing higher players make you play better? No, but if you have the right mindset, you can learn from it and you can use those same things against other people. Sure. Most of the tactics that I use in my personal game and that I teach my students are all tactics that higher players have used against me. So there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of different scenarios that higher players have used against me, and that's what I use against everybody else. So when you're playing higher players, instead of just hoping that something's maybe going to happen and you're going to get better, what you have to think of, especially after the match, is what kind of things can I take away from this match that they used really well against me, and how can I go back to the drawing board when I go back on Monday to the club, and how can I develop those things to use against others?
Yeah, what were they doing and how were they making it work?
Yeah, and it's different than just like watching YouTube videos. When they actually use it against you and you feel it in the moment, I feel like it's a different feel than just watching videos.
Definitely.
So playing higher players, does it make you better or worse? It makes you better if, this is a big if you learn from it and you're actually able to detail it and you're able to take something away and develop that for your own game, then I can say you actually improved.
For sure.
So, a couple more things and then we'll be taking on some questions before we got to wrap up here. Fitness, I would recommend developing a short yet effective fitness session that you can do, before and after every practice. It could be just 10 minutes, 12 minutes, 15 minutes, but short and efficient I feel like is much better. You come home from work, you've been working 12 hours. Most people don't feel like doing a 4-hour Rocky Balboa style, intense, grueling workout, but if you've got something small and effective, you can do it. Chance, he works out 2 to 3 times a day, but his workouts are pretty short. Mine, because I'm swamped with work and everything else, I keep my workouts effective too, and oftentimes I'm working out 5 to 10 minutes a day besides the work on the table. So short and effective.
Some push-ups here and there, some planks, some wall sits, just easy body weight stuff that you can do. It takes 5-10 minutes here, 5-10 minutes there. You can get it in no matter what your schedule's like. Yeah,
so more fitness for sure is better, but developing a consistent routine that you can do before and after practice, this is really one of the big things. Don't think that it has to be a 3-hour workout at the gym where you sweat through 10 shirts in order for it to be a good workout. As far as the journey goes, your journey to improvement, enjoy the journey. Don't be so impatient that you say, but I gotta get to 1500 this year, or I've gotta get to 2700 this year. It's gonna take time, and you have to be patient and persistent, realizing that it's gonna take time. Kanak Jha, I think he started table tennis when he was 5, 6, 7, and now he's 18, almost 19 years old, and he didn't make this jump from 0 to 2750 in a year. No. He didn't jump from 1800 to 2600 in a year. What was it? It was consistent practice over a long period of time in the right training environment, practicing details, and he stuck with it, and then he got to this level.
Dedicated fitness routines, practicing serves.
Absolutely. And using Kanak as an illustration, he's ranked number 40 in the world for men right now. He's not the most talented player on the planet. He is talented, but he's not the most talented. Physically, he's not the best physically on the planet. training environment has been decent from when he was younger, but not absolutely the best in the world. But what did he do? He stuck with a consistent program for a long period of time, and that's how he was able to get to the higher level. So enjoy the journey that you're on now, and don't get discontent with the level you're at. You want to be pushing for the next level, but most people don't get to that next level because they give up prematurely. They think that they're going to start at this point, 800, and then 1200, 16, 2000, 24, 28. Doesn't work like that. It's not progressive like that. It's maybe 800 to 1500, back down to 1200, to 13, 1350, 1375, 1400, 1800, 1500, 1600, 2000, 1700, 1600, 1500, 1900. The progressive rate is kind of weird in table tennis.
It's different for everyone.
It's not exactly progressive, and as Chance says, it's different for everyone. But if you stick with the consistent program over the long period of time, you listen to your coach, you understand the details, that's when you're going to make more progress. And then evaluate. I would say once a year, you should take a couple days to evaluate it. Don't play for a few days and just sit back and evaluate your game. So there's a day-to-day, almost game-by-game or point-by-point analysis that you make, but to just step back once a year, take a few days off and just kind of reevaluate, hey, how am I doing? How can I reset my goals for this year? And how can I, get my life together so that I'm not getting so overwhelmed, but I'm also not getting burnt out? I think this is critically important.
Yeah, what can you do better? What have you done well? Stuff like that.
All right, so we've got about 2 or 3 more minutes before we wrap up here. Do you guys have any questions about personal improvement? In the beginning of this session, we talked about the new academy. We talked about what we can do to help other academies in the area and around the country. And then on the second part here, we just finished up with 10 points that you can do to improve your game this year. Do you have any questions for me? We're taking questions right now on YouTube and on Facebook. In the future, we'll probably be running these live sessions on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. All right, I think we had one question that came in.
Sid again.
All right, Sid's got another question. Let's see what we got. All right, I have 10 different motions for serves, and each motion provides its own advantages and disadvantages. At my level, it's my touch added with some practice.
That makes my serves good. The more variety of serves I can use, especially against different opponents, the better it works for me. However, how come at world level I see professionals only use one motion, limiting themselves to only a few variations? I think that depends largely on the player. There's examples like Werner Schlager that used a lot of different motions and a lot of different variations, but you'll see a lot of top pros really develop 1 or 2 serves to, near the peak of what you're able to do with it, and vary the depth, the placement, the amount of spin, the height of their toss, things like that. And there's so many subtle variations within that one motion.
Absolutely. Think about it. If you think about all the different locations on the table, you talk about all the different depths as far as the subtlety of a little bit deeper, a little bit shorter, and then you talk about maybe a backspin, side spin, backspin, and then all the variations from a 10 being the spinniest to a 1 being the least spinny. When you multiply all those possible variations, you actually come up with hundreds of scenarios.
Of different variations within one motion.
Right. So I think, like he said, there are some players that vary a lot. There are other players that feel very comfortable with a specific serve. Because you have to remember that every time you change your serve, it changes the dimensions of the match as far as the return goes as well. So yeah, you could change your serve to mess the other guy up, but at the same time, are you messing yourself up as well? Because as I said earlier, ultimately the goal is not just to see how many aces you can get off the serve. The ultimate goal is to win the point. So they have to think what serves set themselves up to win the point more, and what do they feel comfortable with. So I think there's actually, to answer your question, Sid, I think there's actually more subtle variations than you possibly see. And then the other thing is, those are the serves that probably best set up their game.
Yes.
I used to do too many variations. I used to do one of these, and I had some world-class players tell me, hey buddy, you're changing your serve too much. You win a couple points in your serve, but you can't play after any of your serves because you're utterly confused. So for a while, I actually made my serve very, very simple.
Yeah.
And now I thought, it's a little bit too simple, so I started changing up more. Obviously, if I'm losing, I change more. If I'm winning, I keep it fairly simple.
Find the serves that suit your game, and then I would say stick to those. And as you feel more comfortable with those, you can add one more new motion or one more new location or whatever, and kind of build up from there. But you want to stick with probably maybe 3 or 4 to start, and get comfortable with how people return them and how that sets up your game.
Excellent. All right, guys. Chance Friend and I, Joe Shiraki, Blake Cottrell, we're all coaching here at the Samson Table Tennis Academy. So if you want a lesson, when you walk through the door right there, you'll see our availability on the dry erase board. So you can check to see if we're available today or tomorrow for a lesson. Make sure you also come for our group classes. On Mondays, we have advanced training. Tuesdays, we have foundational adult training. Fridays, which is tonight, we have beginner kids classes. And then every Thursday night, we have the Paddle Palace Ohio League. We had 60 people here last night, so it was a great turnout. And we're still welcoming more people. So regardless if you're interested in coming for a tournament, if you'd like to come to one of our summer training camps, the Ohio Mega Camps, or you just have a question about your game, make sure you get in contact with us. But anyway, thanks Chance for your time. I appreciate you guys watching.